What's up, guys? We are taking a look at another X-Men figure. We are one step closer to building Apocalypse today, and we are taking a look at Magneto, the Master of Magnetism himself. We've got him in that standard Marvel Legends box. I'm really getting tired of this packaging with so many of these figures lately. But he's in that standard box. He's in the big window, X-Men logo down on the bottom. We've got product shot on the back, as well as that lineup and the Build-A-Figure and a small write-up of Magneto. So let's pull him out and take a look. Alright guys, here he is out of the package, Magneto himself, and this is one that has kind of been a hole in my X-Men setup for a while. Of course, this is not the classic Magneto. This is not the Magneto that, I don't know, 99% of people out there would like to have, red and purple suit. This is his more current, I believe this is coming from the X-Men Blue comic book. I don't read comics really much anymore outside of a few select titles, and Marvel Comics just really isn't my thing anymore. I still love the characters, but I don't have time for comics these days, unfortunately. But this is a very, very recent suit, and I can only assume that we're getting this first, kind of like we got Brown Suit Wolverine first, because Hasbro knows that they're going to sell out of this guy because people are clamoring for Magneto, but they would also love to have the classic suit, so you can get them both and they can double their money on the same figure, basically, which I guess I'm okay with. You know, if I know I'm going to get him down the road, I'm all right getting this one, because this is actually a pretty cool figure, and he comes with a lot of neat stuff. The only real downside for me that I can think of right off the bat is that I've got, again, some weird paint QC issues on this guy. So we're going to run through articulation first, and then we'll talk about some of that paint issue stuff, and then his overall look and feel. So we have got a head that can swivel. We've got a standard disc hinge, so he can go all over the place. I mean, his head has tons and tons of movement. Arms can go out. They can swivel all the way around, but of course these shoulder pads are going to get in the way, but he does have full rotation. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, but these wrist cuffs here are going to get in the way because they sit right over top of that joint. We've got hinged and rotating wrists. Nothing really gets in the way there, despite these cuffs actually hitting over the wrist. They actually move really well. Crunch-wise, he can go back. He can go forward, waist twist. Legs can go out that far. Full kick forward, because you know Magneto's going to do that. We can go back just a little bit, very slightly. Thigh cut, double jointed knees, boot cut, shin swivel, wherever you want to call it. We've got rocker, and we have got hinge on those ankles. So he is, you know, pretty standard for a Legends figure, but he's not really too hindered by his sculpt and by this big cape and by the shoulder pads. I mean, they get in the way in the sense that they're there, but they don't really stop him from being as dynamic as he can be based on this sculpt. So I'm actually pretty happy with how he turned out, despite the fact that he's got this huge chunk of plastic hanging off his back. Now, in the sculpt department, in the paint department, I am, at the outset, in a general sense, actually really, really happy. This isn't, obviously, I've already said it, this isn't classic Magneto, but the look is there. It's really just the colors that are different. And I do like this red and black color scheme. I think it looks pretty cool. It's just not what I think of when I think of Magneto. This is how he comes out of the package. So we've got the two translucent purple hands, which you already know I'm a fan of that. I think that's cool. It's reminiscent of the Wonder Man hands that we got previously, although they're different sculpt, but same situation going on, same color and all that. So we've got Magneto's helmet, which I think looks really, really nice. The sculpt on it's pretty solid. My issue, though, is that I do have some paint problems on it. There is black all over the inside of this here, so I'm assuming we missed some paint there, which is a pretty big pain point for me, honestly. If everything wasn't so, you know, janky here, for lack of a better word, I'd be a lot happier, but I've got some odd paint inconsistencies on this guy which really bug me. So we've got the helmet. I think it looks really nice. The face in there is very solid. I'm very, very happy with how that turned out. And we've got those white pupilless eyes, so you know he's about to throw down and really, really lay into someone. We've got the shoulder pads here, which are just kind of a matte red plastic, and then that leads into this cape, which is not solid black. It's kind of a navy blue black almost. My only real gripe with this is that the peg on it is kind of odd, and the cape in general doesn't really want to sit on his shoulders. The peg doesn't peg in all the way. It kind of just sits there, and it's almost like a floating look. It does work. I get what they're going for here, but I find that I'm having to adjust it more than I would like. So it's not necessarily a huge negative. It's more of a, I don't know, more of a pet peeve than anything, I guess. We do have the gauntlets here that I showed previously. They're just matte red plastic, just like the shoulder guards there. And then the rest of the body is just painted. And that's kind of where I have some of the issues. The overall body, I think, works really good for Magneto. It's not huge. It's not small. It's not overly ripped either, although Magneto is quite solidly built for such an old dude. But we've got the red lines that run down, and honestly, this paint works well against the matte red on the rest of the body. It is pretty close. It matches really well, and I'm happy with that. The only real problem I have is when you get down into the musculature on the legs, I start to lose some of that red paint. And this is something that I've been talking about lately with the kind of thinning of the paint and like it needs another coat. I'm seeing that here as well. I can see through this red, and inside the musculature, it's like paint's missing. So I've got black splotches in there, which is definitely a bit of a miss, something that I'm not too happy about. I can live with it. The bigger problem for me is the paint missing on the helmet. I'm going to try to fix that. I'm sure I can just hit it once with some red and be done. And then of course we do have the boots down here. So all of the armor pieces match the figure. So there's no inconsistencies. All of the red is very, very consistent and clean. I'm very happy with it. So the overall figure I think looks really solid. I think this is going to translate into an inevitable classic Magneto pretty much perfectly. My only true issues are the fact that it's not the classic Magneto, but I think I get why that's the case. And I do have these paint QC issues, which had just seemed to plague me a lot lately. They're minor, they're not crazy, but they're there. Now, in the accessory department, Magneto does have a handful, and I do mean that literally and figuratively. So you can see that things have changed here. We've got the base figure, but he does have some energy effects, and we've seen these previously. So we have got the kind of lightning type effects that we've seen with Storm in this wave, which I have yet to review so far. And we've seen them with the Thor figure from the Thor Valkyrie 2-pack, for example. So we've seen these previously. They're not new, but I think they work pretty well here. I still don't know what I really want to have for Magneto. This isn't necessarily 100% what I want to have for him, but it works well enough. I'm always a sucker for translucent plastic effects, and this matches his hands perfectly. So purple is definitely a good color to go for the effects. I just don't know that lightning is what I truly want, but at the same time, I do not want those kind of played out bubble type effects that we've seen over and over and over again. So if I had to take one over the other, this is definitely it. You can, move them around, take them apart. They just sort of sit over top of the figure's arms, so you can swap them in and out. I do like the idea behind these. I think they work really, really well. So there you go. You've got those, but wait, there's more. So beyond the effect pieces, we have got 3 other accessories. We've got a set of black fist hands, so kind of a non-powered up look for Magneto. I'm never going to use these. He's always going to have those purple hands, but that's just me. I'm glad they included them. I like the idea to have options. And then we've got this unhelmeted Magneto head here, which I think works pretty well. Look at that hair. That stark white flowing mane that he's got there. Looks really good. A lot of sculpted texture detail in there. We have got that very well done comic style face. I'm very much a fan of this. I don't know that I'm actually going to use it, but it's good for taking pictures, and obviously this is going to work for somebody. It's just not me. I'm always going to use that helmeted head, I believe. But I think it works really well. The sculpt on it's nice. The eyes are painted very crisp and clean. The white in that hair is very, very nice. Very stark transition to his dark costume. And then we've got those bushy gray eyebrows. So I'm very happy with all these accessories. I think the ones I'm going to use the most are the effect pieces, but I'm always up for added bonus inclusions, and I think they really did a good number here with this particular figure. So at the end of the day, I am a lot happier with this figure than I think I originally expected to be. What it originally came down to was the fact that he's not in the classic costume. Do I really care? But this is still Magneto, and I actually do like this costume now that I have it in hand. It looks pretty cool, and I think the colors work. My big gripes here are, like I've mentioned, these odd paint QC issues that I seem to keep getting with all the figures that I've been getting in. I know it's luck of the draw for the most part. Hasbro is making thousands of these figures. I can't expect them to all be perfect, but it sucks when it's your figure. So that's kind of where I am with it. I think the figure is a solid entry into this X-Men line, and I do think that this all but guarantees a classic one. They're going to get their money's worth out of this figure, and they're just going to make a second one, and I'm going to buy it because I need that classic purple and red. So if you're a Magneto fan, I would suggest getting it. I mean, if you need to build a figure, you got to buy it anyway, and it's Apocalypse, you're going to get this guy. So snatch him up. He is a cool figure, and he's got a lot of fun accessories. So that's going to do for this look at the Marvel Legends Magneto figure from Hasbro. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.